Breaking, Russia connection found, 75,000 shares of Putin Energy Company. OMG. New connections to Russia emerge, as Democrats flounder to accuse President Trump of being Vladimir Putin's puppet. But it's who those connections line up with that will have you up in arms. New evidence indicates that Hillary Clinton was colluding with the Russian government. Hillary's campaign manager, John Podesta, was on the board of directors for a Kremlin-financed energy company that gave him 75,000 shares. Via Investors Business Daily. WikiLeaks revealed in March of this year that Podesta was on the board of Jules Unlimited between 2010 and 2014, leaving only to join the Obama administration as a senior advisor. Podesta failed to disclose his position on the board when filing his financial disclosures, which is required by law, upon entering the White House. John Podesta established the shell company Leonidio Holdings, in his daughter's names, no less, and positioned it to receive the Kremlin money just 10 days before he was officially employed by Obama. Essentially, Podesta was paid huge sums of money by a Russian-backed energy company before he became a powerful political advisor. Worse still, he kept the ties secret. That's treason, Mr. Podesta. This connection was discovered by WikiLeaks during their investigation into John Podesta's private emails, which were leaked to the public early last year. During the election, the Hillary Clinton campaign struggled and tried to distract us from her numerous email leaks, many of which revealed backdoor deals, as well as Clinton-backed pay-to-play scams. Hillary Clinton had numerous other ties to the Russian government. She personally received millions of dollars in donations after her State Department agreed to grant the Kremlin control of 20% of America's uranium reserves. John Podesta's brother, Tony, is a registered lobbyist who lobbies the American government on behalf of Russia. Further, numerous members of the Clinton campaign secretly met with Sergei Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, during the 2016 campaign. The Democrats are deflecting their own crimes onto the Trump administration. After failing to win the election, Hillary Clinton is deploying a convenient scapegoat in Putin. The radical left has no shame. The Democrats are guilty of everything they continuously accuse Trump of doing, but they're even worse. The press will never report on it, you can bet your money on that. The extremist Democrats will use any method to derail Trump's presidency. Do you think the Clinton campaign was working with the Russians? Please share the story on Facebook, and tell us what you think because we want to hear your voice. Look, everyone is talking about one special thing Pence did today. Vice President Mike Pence headed to Montana Friday to garner support for Greg Gianforte, the Republican candidate vying for the Treasure State's only seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. And considering he is in Big Sky Country, the former Indiana governor's method of transportation while touring the Westmoreland Coal Company's Absaroka mine on the Crow Indian Reservation was, not surprisingly, horseback. Wearing denim blue jeans and sturdy boots, Pence toured the coal mine with Interior Secretary Ryan Zink, a Montana native, and Senator Steve Daines. Pence also met with tribal and business leaders. Thank you to Crow Nation tribal leaders for an incredible horseback tour of Absaroka mine with @Steve Daines and @Secretary Zink, the vice president tweeted, along with photos of himself saddled up. In another tweet, he quoted former President Ronald Reagan. Outstanding afternoon, he wrote. I've often said there's nothing better for the inside of a man than the outside of a horse. President Reagan. Riding on horseback isn't the only outdoor activity the vice president has planned. Before he leaves the state on Sunday, he said he may go fishing and dip his feet into a river, the Associated Press reported. What do you think about this comment below? Fox News exec making sickening attack on Jesse Waters, watch how he responds. It's frightening to see the executives who run Fox News sabotaging their own network. The chaos began when former Fox News chair Roger Ailes, who provided a guiding voice for the network, was let go. Since then, there have been a string of controversies that have cost them some of their top hosts. Now that 21st Century Fox CEO James Murdoch has taken over, he has fired both legendary host Bill O'Reilly and Bill Shine, who is the network's co-president. Some fear Murdoch has chosen Fox News contributor Jesse Watters as his next target, but he won't go down without a fight. Bill O'Reilly will be appearing on a political comedy tour called the Spin Stops Here Tour together with conservative Saturday Night Live legend Dennis Miller. Watters had been scheduled to appear together with O'Reilly, but Fox News executives are pulling contract string to prevent him from joining. "We're going to do the tour," O'Reilly said recently on his podcast. "Miller and Watters and me." Now, Fox News executives are jumping on a recent statement Watters made as an excuse to smear him. "I don't really get what's going on here, but I really liked how she was speaking into the microphone," Watters commented about Heike's appearance at an event in Germany. Liberals called this comment an oral sex joke, though Watters denies that claim. As far as we know, Watters is still planning to do the tour as a show of support for O'Reilly. What do you think of his decision? Trump's on high alert after massive discovery was just made on his property overnight. Now we know who did it. President Trump has been doing an amazing job since he was inaugurated and took office. Despite the opposition working against him, he has been doing exceptionally well, achieving all the goals he said he had on the campaign trail. However, that does not stupid people from doing downright stupid things. Liberals have taken every opportunity they can to protest the presidency, even riot at times. Whether it was after he won or now. A group of protesters and demonstrators spelled out the word resist so that it was big enough that planes could see it at the President's Trump National Golf Club in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. They used 30-foot tall letters. The indivisible group called Indivisible San Pedro took responsibility for the prank. The group told CBS 2 in Los Angeles, California that they protested for a specific purpose. The purpose of the protest was to call for a special prosecutor to investigate Donald Trump's ties to the Russian government during the 2016 presidential campaign and whether the foreign country had any influence in our election. This issue has become especially prominent in the media since the Senate Oversight and Intelligence Committees have been holding hearings on it, as well as the recent firing of Federal Bureau of Investigation Director James Comey. California Representative Adam Schiff said the following about the possible connections. By firing Comey, Trump again has caused the public to wonder whether there is more here than meets the eye. To the long list of questions about his former national security advisor, his attorney general's flawed testimony before the Senate, and his campaign's contacts with Russia, we must now add one more: why, really, did the president fire James Comey? St. Louis Indivisible has said. The simplest explanation is usually the correct one: a cover-up is now underway and the American people can't depend on a largely complicit, Republican-controlled Congress to protect them. Their Facebook group describes the group as the following. A group of concerned citizens that realize the Trump administration's agenda will take America backwards, and must be stopped. The group has been very vocal about calling for the president to release his tax returns. Law enforcement officials indicated it took over 15 minutes for them to form the word and that the group consisted of children as well. After they formed the word, they all began to sing the song God Bless America. Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies were called to break up the protest, but they simply watched from the balcony and did not interject. The protest continued. Most likely because the protesters were in a public park next to the golf course and not on private property. This is very similar to another situation back in March where environmental activists snuck onto the Trump National Golf Club and carved the following words into the grass in large 6-foot lettering: "No more tigers, no more woods." They asked for information leading to the capture of those who vandalized their property and even offered a $10,000 reward. But nothing was ever found out and the activists turned vandals weren't captured. The silliest part of it all is that if they really cared about doing what they call resisting, they would go out there and make a difference. They would run for town councils and school boards in their towns. They would volunteer at soup kitchens and clinics in need. They would run for political office or work on campaigns for people they want to get elected. This little protest does nothing to effect any change they say they want. All it is a childish display. Not to mention the poor example it sets for the young children that were notably present at the protest. Protests and riots have led to hundreds of thousands of dollars in city damages. Washington, D.C. is a perfect example where property was destroyed after the Women's March and the Climate March. The United States deserves unity, it deserves better than this behavior. These people are doing nothing more than bringing shame to our country with their actions. They should be proud that President Trump has brought respect and dignity back to the White House. He is making America great again. Breaking, shocking discovery just made on 2 flights filled with Somali refugees. President Trump has made it clear through both his words and actions that cracking down on immigration is a #1 priority to him. ICE has been doing raids for some time which have led to many illegal immigrants being arrested. He has also jump-started border wall funding. A new illegal immigrant development has revealed some interesting facts. The Obama administration never took immigration reform seriously. They continuously treated our country like it had an open door. Which is what laid the perfect road for someone like Donald Trump to come along. When President Obama was in office, he only deported 170 Somali illegal immigrants in the span of his last 2 years in office. After breaking immigration laws in the United States, shockingly 72 Somalis and 5 Kenyans were deported back to their home countries. Midnamo Information Center reported this information and that ICE is the one who carried out the orders. All of them were transported to their home countries via private plane to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport this past Friday morning. An unnamed Kenyan official said. They were deported over immigration issues including lacking papers. We had been informed of their planned arrival. The Somalis will proceed to Mogadishu while Kenyans will be processed